Hello, I'm Maria Falzo, and we are going behind the big event today with Wedding File. I'm here with Molly Greger from Wedding File, and I'm so excited to introduce you as our first guest. And let's talk a little bit about Wedding File and what it is. You were with New Jersey Bride for 20 years.
Yep. Thank you for having me. Yes, so I was the editor of New Jersey Bride for 20 years, and I left about a year and a half ago to start up Wedding File.
Okay.
And Wedding File is pretty much an online wedding planning website with all tips, articles, real weddings, vendors, venues, everything a bride needs to plan. But then I also have my own private Facebook group, which is really sort of which makes me different.
So tell me a little bit about the Facebook group. So if I'm a bride, how do I find you?
Yes, so the Facebook group is called Molly's New Jersey Wedding Insiders, and anyone can find it on Facebook. You just literally search for Molly's New Jersey Wedding Insiders. But then you have to be approved to join. And it's a bride only, grooms also, mothers of the bride, bridesmaids, bridal party. Anyone pretty much planning a wedding can join the group, but vendors are not allowed.
Interesting.
Unless the vendor is engaged. So I don't discriminate against engaged vendors. But
no discrimination against brides.
Right.
But so, hands off for vendors.
Yes, and by doing that, it makes it a really nice community and environment where the brides feel comfortable and safe to ask questions about pretty much everything under the sun, from finding a venue to dealing with a mother-in-law to money issues, just figuring out their budget, what they can afford. And pretty much everything that goes into planning a wedding is talked about in the group on a daily basis.
Very cool. Okay, so we have the Knot, we have Wedding Wire. What makes Wedding File different?
Pretty much is the Facebook group. So I'm actually in the group every day talking to brides and answering their questions. So while everyone knows the Wedding Wire and the Knot is this national service, they don't know New Jersey, they don't know the New Jersey venues and vendors, even though they're listed there. They don't personally know them, but I do. I know I've been doing this for 20 years in the state and know so many different vendors and just am able to guide brides and grooms in the right direction for what they're looking for. I like to say I'm sort of like a concierge, like the brides can come to the group, tell me what they're looking for, and then I can send them off in the right direction.
So if a bride comes to you and asks a question, or comes to the group, asks a question, you'll go back and directly point her in the right direction.
Yes, I don't answer every question, but a lot of times, especially if it's something that I do know a bit of expertise on, that brides may not know. You know, it's the first time they've ever planned a wedding. It's a lot of money that they're investing. They don't know where to even start. So I jump in whenever I can, but the other brides in the group are great too, especially brides who have been in the group for a year and are either this close to their wedding or even their wedding may have passed. They're sort of like the experts as well, so they can jump in with their point of view. So
how do the vendors like connect with you, or do you want to connect with the vendors?
Oh, I love connecting. I love connecting with vendors. I pretty much love knowing anything about weddings in New Jersey, whether it's a new vendor, whether it's an old vendor, just maybe new things they're offering. Constantly there's new venues building new hotels that are connected to their venue. So anything that's new in New Jersey having to do with weddings, like I want to know about. And for 20 years I've had wonderful connections with a lot of the different vendors. So and I continue to do that, but still constantly meeting new ones.
Great. So, I mean, it's a new business, but tell us what's in store for the rest of the year and going into 2025.
So one of the big things I wanted to do, especially post-COVID, there aren't a lot of networking events in New Jersey in the bridal world. So I've got one planned for June. It's a vendor networking event at the Riverview Ballroom up in Cliffside Park. They just recently renovated it. So I love finding places that are like new and people who've been in the business for a while knew what it used to be like. So now it's brand new. So we're going to do a networking event there. And it's all any vendor in New Jersey that is in the wedding industry is welcome to come. And just like a fun night, it doesn't cost anything. It's just coming out to meet other people. I think so many vendors get caught up working on weddings and they don't necessarily get to talk to other vendors. Even, maybe even their competition. It's, it can be a healthy competition, and they can sort of share stories and tips, and just like a nice night to.
So the Facebook group is for the brides, but the networking group is for the vendors.
Yes, but I do want to start doing networking events for the brides as well.
Absolutely.
Because they become friends in this group, but it's all virtual.
Right.
So I would just like to have the face-to-face, especially me even talking to the brides in person. And then just them, a lot of them will have, it's called like, they're wedding twins. So they share the same wedding date, or they share the same wedding venue.
Sure.
So, they're sharing tips constantly for a year and a half planning at the same venue. And so that will give them a chance just to meet up in person.
Absolutely. What's some of the tips that you can share that you've offered to some of your brides?
Yeah, so one thing that's sort of counterintuitive that I like to say all the time is if they can put as much as they can on their credit card.
Okay.
Now I know that sounds counterintuitive, like you don't want to run up debt, but you don't have to run up debt. It's just a lot of vendors will allow you to put a deposit. They may not allow you to put subsequent payments on it, but whatever they allow you to do, put it on the credit card. One, you're going to get points, so find a great credit card that you can rack up the points and use for your honeymoon.
That's a great tip.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But two, like most importantly, it's pretty much an insurance, it's a free insurance policy for you.
Oh, wow.
So if something were to go wrong,
Sure.
That charge is on your credit card. The credit card company will deal with the vendor, and you don't have to, or worry about going to small claims court or any of that. It's just an easy, quick call.
That's a great
So,
tip. Okay.
yeah, so that's what, and then once it goes on the credit card, then take your money from your fund and pay it off immediately.
Sure.
Don't, I'm not encouraging debt at all.
Right, absolutely. You don't want to go into debt for your wedding.
No, some people do. And
I know, silly.
No.
Right.
And then I guess the other thing too is like right now Instagram. Instagram is such a driving force in the wedding industry. I know a lot of brides are using it to plan their weddings, to find vendors, to find venues. That's wonderful, but I don't want them to think that everything they see is reality, because there's gorgeous pictures, and you know what I'm talking about, with the ballrooms, with the flowers, and just everywhere. And one, it's either a photo shoot that isn't real life, or maybe we've taken the small corner and decked it out so it looks wonderful, but the whole room doesn't look like that, or it's a $500,000 wedding.
Right.
And every wedding I think is wonderful and important, and you don't need to spend $500,000. I say all the time, like, I can get you married for $500 or $500,000.
Right.
And everything in between exists in New Jersey.
Sure.
But don't get overwhelmed by what they're seeing on Instagram, or feel like they have to have some of the new trends or things
I mean, I always
having.
say use it as inspiration.
Absolutely.
But you're not going to be able to recreate that exact thing.
Right.
But to pull all of your inspiration, whether it be from Pinterest or Instagram, and pull out like the things that you like and are the most important.
Absolutely. And don't feel bad that your wedding may not have like the grand flowers.
Sure.
It's okay. Like, your guests, of course they're going to see it, but they're there for the couple getting married. Not all the details that I think some of the couples get so focused on.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank you so much for
Thank
being
you for having
here.
me.
Absolutely. Tell us one more time where
weddingfile.com.
brides can find you. Okay.
So that's where, again, it's like a database of it's my favorite vendors in the state. So like all my favorite photographers, my favorite wedding planners, my favorite florists are all there. I sort of keep it as my file cabinet. So
Sure.
file.
Absolutely.
But then there's also real weddings there, so brides can find other weddings at maybe their venue there. And then there's tips and advice on all different things. I love writing about things that you can't find anywhere else, like the Knot would never write about.
Sure.
So it's very hyper-local to New Jersey. And then the Facebook group is Molly's New Jersey Wedding Insiders.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thank you so much, Molly.
Thank you.
Until next time, this is Behind the Big Event.